Can you guys hear me okay? I just want to make sure my mic is working. As you can see, I'm in a different setup. So, hello. Hi, Taylor. Hi, Manic Pixie. Can everyone? Okay, good. Hi. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Senpai noticed me. Yay. I decided I wanted to sit on my couch instead of my desk chair. Are we all doing okay with the current situation and everything going on? Yeah, we are all quarantined. Screaming into the void. Moo is like standing over, looking at me, really mad. She's like, "What are you doing?" Oh no, you ran out of salt. Yeah, I'm like, I'm an introvert and a homebody and like my alone time, but I know that like I'm gonna go stir crazy very soon. Let me move this. Oh, thank you about my Little Pony plushies. Yes, I am a child. I have way too many. It is a good time to be an introvert. Is it like is everything shut down by you all? Oh, Pinkie Pie is my favorite too. Everybody, all my friends say I am Pinkie Pie. Oh man, 7 pumpkins, I'm sorry. I will pray for you. Yeah. Yeah, they like shut down like pretty much everything in New York. Everything is shut down. Schools, um restaurants and bars and clubs, they're all closed. With like restaurants, you can order online and I think go pick up, but you can't sit in you can't dine in. So, but like, yeah, everything is shut down. A lot of stores are closed. I know the Disney store, Sanrio, Hot Topic. I think my stepmom said Macy's is closing. Like, so yeah, it's just everything has shut down. Which I was actually thinking a lot about it, and I was actually really happy that the governor um shut everything down, especially like my government in New York, because New York is the epicenter of the world. Like if we don't get our shit together, we have the potential of fucking everybody over. So I'm actually really happy that he made that decision to just like, no, we're closing everything. Like Broadway's closed, the cinemas are closed, like everything is closed. So I'm happy about that. But the good thing about all of this is that it definitely is a great opportunity, for all of us to do a lot of the things that we want to do. Like pick up a new skill or read all. Someone mentioned that they were reading all the books. Yeah. Oh, speaking of, that reminded me of something I wanted to do. Okay. Hopefully that worked. Yeah. I just put in a link to some ebooks. It's a Google Drive filled with ebooks about Hellenic polytheism. So you got stuff to read. But yeah, good time to really dive into your devotion more, spend time with the gods, do witchy stuff. If you're a witch, do those kinds of stuff. Oh, you're welcome. I've actually started learning to crochet. I figured I have time. Why now finally do that? So I started learning to crochet. I can't get the hang of double crocheting at all, but I'll figure it out eventually. Reading a lot more. Definitely trying to get my devotion on a better, more consistent schedule. And reading. Yeah, lots and lots of reading. I'm also been taking this time to finally start going back to creating content for you all, update the podcast and work on establishing that website finally. So, yeah, this is a really great time to do the things that you want to do. Anything that that was getting in, that you had to put aside because of life. So, let's see. Yeah, that's a good idea. Equinox moon, practice your drawing skills. Yeah, definitely it's a good time to practice any skills you have or take up new ones. I'm also going to bake bread. Thanks, Bonnie. New York is the center of the world, okay? But then, yeah, it is a total New York. It's a total New Yorker thing to say. Absolutely, we do think that there is a part of us that thinks that part we think we're better than everybody else. I'm not even gonna lie. Oh yeah, it's a good too. Learn picking up tarot cards and learning that. Yeah, I've been upping my tarot study game during this time too. Hi, Ayla! Ayla's here, yay! Oh, that's great. I know sometimes with witchcraft especially, yeah, it's easy to just sit there and study it and not to actually do what you've been learning about. I do that all the time. I always love the research process of anything. Like when I was in school, I loved researching a paper, but I hated the actually writing a paper. I hated that. I liked the gathering everything up and learning new things and that kind of part, but the doing. Yeah, the second link I think doesn't work, but the first one has more than enough. I think the first one was the big one anyway because that had everything in it. That I talk a lot about the book Greek Religion by Walter Burkert. That's on there. A really good Apollo book is in there. Definitely, if you're at all interested in Apollo, check out that book. A good one on Artemis is in there. There's a lot of stuff. So you're going to have more than enough to read. Ooh, Sappho Stan, definitely. That'd be cool. Make a homemade Greek alphabet oracle. I actually just got these blank cards. They're really pretty. From Lace and Whimsy. I actually, if you go to my Instagram, you'll see I've gotten a bunch of stuff from her. I love her aesthetic. And I'm going to actually make my own oracle cards for the Greek gods where I'm going to have each one and then have it say something. I don't know yet what I'm going to do, but have it have a little message. So yeah. Ooh, that's learning Greek. That's great. Ooh, Ayla with the book racks. I will definitely check that out. I'm glad. I just want everyone to stay well and safe and sane. Make sure you guys are taking care of yourselves, not even just health wise in terms of like washing your hands and staying in and all that, but like keep keep your mind from going to dark places, because I definitely have the habit, if I'm stuck inside for too long, like my depression acts up. So I'm trying. It's one of the reasons I'm doing the live streams, hopefully for all of us, we can connect and feel better and not feel isolated. And also, what was I saying? Also to, keep yourself busy with some fun stuff to do. Yeah, Duolingo is great. That's usually the app everybody recommends for language learning. Oh, you're welcome, Bonnie. I am also going to be doing one on Friday. I haven't decided yet the time, but I want to try and make it like a different time than now, just so that more people have the opportunity to join in. I mean, like, I have nothing else going on. I'm in the house. So like I said, everything is shut down in New York, so I have nothing to do. So I could probably do a live stream every single day at this point. I know, Ayla. I saw that you talked about that you were crying because you've been stuck in the house, and I was like, no, I wish I could get to you. We could be quarantined together. Oh, apple pie. I'm glad that you're able to attend this one. I'm glad that this is helping everybody, because I just thought about it. I'm like, oh wait, everybody's got time now. Why don't we just do some live streams? It'll be great. We could just hang out, keep each other company, keep each other sane, and talk about some things. Yeah, quarantine gang, yes. Oh, I miss your energy too, Ayla. I totally do. Every time I talk to you, it's always like I always feel so happy and like, oh, my friend. Oh my God, get Ayla and Jesse collab. Someone on Tumblr said that they thought we were the same person at one point, and I'm like, that is the greatest compliment I've ever received. That someone thought I was Ayla and that Ayla was me. Like, that's amazing. Yes, Bonnie, we go to Online Temple. That's right. So, since there is something I wanted to talk to everybody about and have this discussion, considering the situation that's going on. If you follow me on Tumblr, then you'd have seen that we kind of discussed this a little bit, but I kind of wanted to really just talk to everybody and see what your perspectives were and all that about kind of the role the gods play in, situations like this. Somebody asked me on Tumblr how, I basically wrap my head around specifically Apollo being, the bringer of plagues, and, how I wrap my head around him having that role, and, this whole issue with the virus. And, is it because of him? Does he play a role in it? If not, then how do we grapple with where our gods fit in with something like this? And I thought I think it's an important discussion to have. And it was an interesting one as I was thinking more about it, because, I never had to really think like that before, because I never considered, I was a spiritual person, but I wasn't a religious person. Like, I didn't necessarily have like a higher power that I completely and utterly believed in that I would turn to. I never had that. So now it's kind of, I feel like this is really the first time in, at least I think, like, where I've been a Hellenic polytheist, where I've kind of felt like I really had to grapple with how I fit my religion into situations like this, because I'll just share all my thoughts on it, and then we'll get to because I've been really thinking about this, and I'm like, this isn't me preaching. I really am just like want to have a discussion about it, because it's been. I actually was sitting at my altar, kind of like looking for an answer, like, Apollo, can you help me out here? Because it's interesting, because my brain is going in like a million different directions. So at first, like, I'm the type of person that really likes to believe there's a reason for things. Or at least I definitely I assign reasons to bad things that happen in my life personally. Or it's kind of like saying, like, I'll learn a lesson. So there's one part of me that was thinking, well, maybe this is a lesson that we need to learn, and Apollo's trying to teach us. Because in my experience with Apollo, that's how he operates. He does things, and he puts obstacles in my way, and he really kind of makes me try to make me understand what it is that I need to learn, because that's what I need to do to grow, to be a better person and to reach my potential. So I was wondering if that is the case, because even before I was really grappling with all this, when I was just thinking about it, not in relation to my religion or my gods, just thinking that, this is really going to force us to have to reevaluate how we operate as a society, and what we value, and where we put our energy, and how we take care of each other, because, and I knew it when they started talking about how cases were popping up in the US. I was like, this virus is going to just go right. It's going to just breed, because we have such an unhealthy relationship with, taking time off of work because we can't, going to the doctor because we don't have the money or the insurance, like our whole, because of capitalism and the way the government runs our country, it is literally a perfect place for that kind of virus to breed, So I was already thinking that. And so the idea that Apollo is, forcing us to have to stop and really look at what's going on, and look how we treat, people who are less fortunate, less privileged than we are, people who are, whose immunity is compromised, who's disabled, the elderly, and this, like, the sick and the ill, like how we treat everybody. And the idea of kind of caring only about ourselves, in this whole like, how many times did people have to say, like, yeah, like, think about other people, because you're likely gonna be fine, but don't be like, well, only this many people are gonna die. It's like, that's still people. That statistic is still people. It's like the idea of caring about other people. But then, as you can see, I've been really thinking about this. But then, the idea, I have a hard time sitting with the idea of saying, especially being someone who isn't part of the at-risk, I'm in a situation, I'm very privileged where, I don't really have to worry about, I'm relatively healthy. I'm only in my early 30s. I don't have any underlying conditions and everything. Like, I'm fine. So I'm not the one that's going to be affected. So it feels a little weird for me to sit there and be like, well, Apollo is sending this virus that can and has killed people to teach us a lesson, to teach us a lesson, And that feels a little like, I don't, it doesn't, it leaves like a bad taste in my mouth and feels wrong in a way to say that also. That reminds me, if any of you are part of the at-risk group, I especially would love to hear about how you're wrapping your brain around all of this, because that's, I think it's easy for those of us who aren't as affected by it to kind of be able to just say, well, it's a lesson we need to learn, But at the same time, to say, okay, if Apollo didn't have, if Apollo didn't do this, why isn't he stopping it? And then is it that he won't? Is it that he can't? And then if it's that he can't, then it's like, you have to think, well, why? What kind of, then where's the power? Like, where, you believe that the gods have this kind of like superpowers, and now you have to reevaluate what that means. And then it's like, if you think, well, the gods are not involved in this, and it's like, okay, but now we have to figure out then what are the gods involved in then? It's like a pick and choose situation, or like what's, yes. And so like, yeah, that's where I've really been, Ella, definitely, if you want to step out, you can. It's not going to be the topic of the whole thing. This is really the big question I wanted to talk about, and then everything else I wanted to talk about has nothing to do with the virus. So if you want to step out and then come back in a little bit, that's completely fine. Yeah, but I promise this is not going to be, we're not going to discuss it completely, because I wanted the space to be able to discuss this topic specifically, but then everything after is going to be about Apollo, just Apollo, and other things. So that has nothing to do with this. Okay, let's see what you guys are saying. So stop my rambling to you guys. Let's go. Yeah, that I had that problem too, Equinox Moon. Somebody on Tumblr saw one of my posts about it. It's funny because it wasn't even, it was actually a really interesting topic, because it was like, the person asked, well, if we are going to say it's a divine influence, who's to say it's Apollo as opposed to one of the, multiple gods out there? And I was like, you know what? That's a really good question. It's true. Like, we're going to think it's Apollo because we're Hellenic polytheists, but someone who's part of the Norse pantheon might think it's someone else. Christians are going to think it's God. And that actually got me thinking a lot about just, we gravitate towards what not just makes sense to us, but what gives us comfort, and I think I wanted to have this kind of discussion because I wanted it to be where we were all free to kind of talk about what we were thinking, what we were feeling, and what maybe was concerning us and all that, but to also stress the fact that at the end of the day, we don't know, and it's really just comes down to each of us individually deciding what seems right and really what gives us comfort. I mean, a lot of religion is about, comfort. It's about what keeps you going, what helps you sleep at night, what helps you resolve certain really heavy issues, Let's see. Let's see. My problem with the way that where Christians do it is, and this isn't a general thing on Christians, but from what I've noticed, Christians always make it like they target a group. You know, like when like they'll target a group. Like when Katrina happened, it was God was punishing, you know, everybody in New Orleans because they were sinful. You know, like and they're very much like, I feel like that's a key word too, is punishing. That gets thrown around a lot within, I feel like, when it's Christians that are talking about it, and that's not at all what I think is going on. If I'm going to, I definitely want it to be known that I'm not at all saying this is because of Apollo. I still have no idea how I feel about any of it. All I know is, for me personally, to deal with certain things, I have to find the silver lining. Like I have to, there has to be a reason, even if it's not necessarily like it happened for a reason, but I personally am like, I'm gonna make there be a reason, you know, by actually being more motivated to get involved and to be a better person, volunteer, donate, or whatever, vote. I mean, I already vote, but vote, you know, doing things. To me, that's what I have to do. If not, like that's personally how I am. And I think that's ultimately how all of us is going to go about it, you know, based on what we need in order to get through it. Yeah, actually, Ayla was talking about how, you know, Gaia is getting a break because of the lack of pollution. But yeah. Oh yeah. I think I was talking about something and then I ran into a different direction. Yeah, someone saw my post and they were like, and then they made this real just passive aggressive post about how, you know, how it's basically implying that you can only either you believe in divine influence or you believe in science. You can't believe in both. And that if you believe in divine influence, you're stupid and reckless. And I was like, well, that's just like really mean to do in like especially in the climate, because people turn to their religion for answers and for help and for comfort, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with using your religion and maybe looking to the gods to try and find some kind of answer. I think the problem comes when you're preaching it as though this is what's happening. Like if I was sitting on here telling you all, no, this is because of Apollo, and this is what he, you know, and preaching it to you, that's not good. And also, as I said before, like directing it at a specific group and saying they're being punished, that's not okay. Like that's not all right at all. But to try and, you know, think that maybe your God has an influence over this and that there's a reason for it, I don't think there's a problem with that. And also, it doesn't mean that I don't believe in science. I very much believe in science. Yeah, Mary, we're actually going to get into I really wanted to talk about Apollo and his how he's not one dimensional, but people want to make him out to be one dimensional. I want to talk about that. think that's a great way to say it, Noel. I just trust there is a reason for this. As mortals, we don't always fully understand everything, and that's okay. Pray for loved ones and trust in the gods. That's what I do. I like that. But that's what it like. People want to believe there's a reason. Mm-hmm. Yeah, little dandelion. That's what I was thinking. It's hard to say. It's hard to be like, oh, this is happening. Like, there's a lesson we need to learn when, and it's always hard to say things like that when people are dying and at risk of dying, and having permanent damage. Like, that just feels so. It does it's hard to say, and it's hard to believe. I think that's one of the reasons, like, it's really, I'm grappling a lot with it. Yeah, absolutely, Elizabeth. Like, it's what we do about it. Ultimately, we have to change it. It's He's shining the light, but we have to change it. Yeah. Yeah, I totally understand, Ella. My dad has an awful immune system, and he has asthma, and he if he got this virus, he would end up in the hospital. And I haven't really said anything, but my grandmother has cancer. So I'm very, and she's in her 70s. So I'm very worried about her. Thankfully, she lives out in Montauk. So, like, very away from people. So I'm hoping she's okay. But yeah, I understand the worry of it. And that's another thing. Like, I have people in my own family that could very well be super affected by this. So it's a little hard for me, especially to say, to look, to, I guess, like, look at Apollo and be like, you're doing this for a reason, but at what cost, It's just a lot to grapple with. But I just definitely wanted to see what you all had to say about it. I love a good deep discussion. Hmm. Persephone, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that. The idea of, that is a very good point of talking about, the influence gods have over different places. The fact that, it started in China. So Apollo targeted, if we're talking about Apollo, we're saying he targeted Asia first and then had that. That's a very good point that I did not even think about. Mm-hmm. That is true, Elizabeth, too. See, this is why I'm really happy I brought it to you guys, because I knew you all would have just really good insights on this that would help me process all of it. But yeah, Apollo, I think it's hard to think, Apollo is responsible for people dying, but is the disease killing people, or is the lack of infrastructure and empathy killing people? Yeah, because that's what I was thinking too. It's kind of like, it is really, it's shining a light, because this might not have had to be the way that it is if our society was set up differently, you know? Yeah, I had that whole conversation about, we gravitate to, like, we'll put we'll attribute, that's the word, we'll attribute things to the gods that we know because that's comforting. The idea that another god or some other higher power is having this kind of impact on us, I think is really uncomfortable. I think I said it's to like a stranger walking into your house and like royally fucking everything up, and you just have to sit there and let it happen. Like it doesn't, you don't know that higher power. You don't know how they work. So when you think of Apollo, like most of us all have a relationship with Apollo. So we trust that it's going to be okay, and that this is happening, that at least there's some kind of reason for it to happening. It's not just chaos, or it's not out of malice. It's not out of wanting to punish. It's not, so I think that's another thing, is that, again, we're going to go towards what gives us comfort. Hi, Courtney. So happy you're here. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Mary. That's true. The racism. Oh, my God. People here were like, not wanting to go anywhere near like Chinese food places. And I was just like, well, for everybody who's worried about family members, I definitely will pray for them, and I hope that they stay well and safe. Yeah, the situation is scary. Yeah, the situation's scary, and it's easier to believe that someone we know and who we know cares about us is behind it, Apollo's fun. Where having a relationship with Apollo is interesting. Oh, it's so funny because now it's like everybody knows. Everybody was asking me because I studied. I've been to Japan and I've studied um Japanese history and everything, and Japanese, and so everybody was asking me. They're like, all the Asians are wearing like face masks and everything. Like, what is that? I'm like, oh my, they've been doing that. Like, that's part of their culture because they're actually freaking considerate. That's why Japan and South Korea got it all under control, because it's like they have a whole culture set up on being considerate of each other and not spreading germs and being clean and all that. So exactly, Luna. Yeah, like they do it when they're sick so that they don't spread their germs. Oh yeah, he did. Ella, yeah, Trump said called uh the virus the Chinese virus. He's such a piece of shit. I don't think I've ever hated a human being like I hate him. I really want him out of office. And like that is the like big thing I am really hoping and praying that the positive influence that this will have is that people that I mean Trump fanatics are going to vote for him regardless. But that there's the people who are kind of like in the middle who are kind of undecided or unsure, that they will see everything and how shitty he was in handling all of this, how he's the one that got rid of the freaking pandemic department or whatever, and will be like, no, maybe not. I can hope. All right. All right. Someone had a post about, they said that Trump doesn't have the virus, and someone was just like, I just booed at my TV until my mom told me to shut up. Capitalism is shit. Okay. Oh yeah, the US, our government is bullshit. It's such bullshit. Honestly, Manic Pixie, I don't think I tend to be the person that's like, don't wish bad things on other people, but with him, I'm like, it's fair game. I'm not even, he's not deserving of any kind of kindness and compassion because he doesn't give any of it out. He gives nothing out. All right. All right. So I think we're good. We got that out of our system. I didn't want to spend too long talking about, you know, the situation and heavy topics like that because, you know, I do want this. I wanted at least a little bit of space for us to just kind of like air things out, you know, but then I feel like now we can kind of move on to less heavy and anxiety ridden things. And I really don't want to talk about Trump anymore because he's a piece of shit and I really can't. Any little thing anything that, like, he opens his mouth and I'm just like, oh my god. He called the test kits. He was like talking about how, oh yeah, anyone who wants a test can get a test. And I'm like, that's a lie. And he's like, the test kits, they're beautiful. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Let's see. I said I didn't want to talk about it. I'm talking about him. All right. Of course, Ella, completely understand. Don't worry about it. Let us get to let's continue talking about Apollo, but Apollo in a different way. Or if anyone has anything that they want to talk about. Yeah, you can absolutely share an Apollo story. You can always share an Apollo story. Yes, Dionysia did happen recently. I unfortunately did not celebrate it. Did anybody celebrate it? I meant to celebrate it, but I did not. Because I've been all over the place lately, but snitching on you until you started getting vibe checked for not sleeping. Oh my god. Of course. Okay. Dylan has proved that Apollo is here and he wants us to talk about him. Yeah, he's definitely back. He's absolutely back. Yes, that does count. That's awesome. A rum and coke. I'm jealous. We're on break because I was focusing too much on my relationship with him, and he wanted me to focus on other things, so I decided not to talk with him until June and July. Oh, he's always in my live streams. He's always in my live streams. Well, Elizabeth, that's a nice idea. No, my dad to pick up food a few days ago, and a song came over the speaker. That is our song, and just knowing that he was checking in, and oh, that's so sweet. Oh, Neo, you're gonna paint Apollo? You should show us when you're done. I'm like I'm obsessed with these drawings I keep seeing on Tumblr and how they depict Apollo with like the long, luscious, like blonde hair, like so long and beautiful. And I'm just like, oh my God, so glorious. He's always possessing the chat. Yeah. He is. Allie gets it. That's exactly what he does. He's always inserting himself into everything. L'Oreal commercial. Ooh, Hermes. I always have Hermes with long, but like a mop of curls. That's how I see him. Like he just has a mop of curls, and like they like fall in his face, and he's got his little Cheshire grin. He's just trouble. He's trouble. You missed a lot. I mean, not a lot. You missed all of the virus talk we were talking, but so you kind of came into like the happy hour. Mostly we're just talking about Apollo at this point. Like what characters? What characters do you visualize? So, someone wanted to talk about Apollo's hair. We already are talking about Apollo's hair, but I mean, even the ancient Greeks were obsessed with Apollo's hair. I think he had an epithet that was all about his glorious locks. Oh, hi, Lindsay. I'm so happy you could make it. Yeah. Oh, Uncle Jesse from Full House. I love that. Oh, yes, Ayla. Yes, that's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about how Tumblr, and I think mainly Tumblr. I'm always going to say Tumblr because that's where I interact the most with people, with other Hellenic polytheists. The fact that Apollo's definitely made out to be extremely one-dimensional and very like, yeah, as Ayla said, like, you know, cinnamon bun, cinnamon roll, like, and like that it's weird because a lot of people also really depict him as being very similar to Hermes and Dionysus, and Hermes and Dionysus are also, I think they're complex too, and they have different sides. Like Hermes, especially if I've experienced like his chthonic role, he's very different in. But Apollo, like, people like treat him like, yeah, like this cinnamon roll, goofy, like mushy, cuddly, sad baby kind of. And it's like, who is this God that you are talking about? Because that is not who I experience at all. And when you look at his epithets, his mythology, the roles that he played, that's not very like on par with who he is. At least not in a sense of like that's all he is, Yeah. I think also like the problem too is Tumblr just has a tendency of doing that with everybody. It's not even just a deity thing, because I've noticed they do it with like anything that like they grip a hold of. Immediately that becomes like their baby. This is my child, this is my son, and like how did anyone see the way like Kylo Ren was treated? I'm a Star Wars fan, so like Kylo Ren was treated, I'm like, he's a villain, guys. Like, why are you sitting there like treating him like he's done nothing wrong? Spoiler, he killed his dad. Like, that's not good. Stabbed Kylo Ren in a Denny's parking lot. Are we talking about, Kona, are you talking about Hermes? Because, yeah, Hermes, for me, in his chthonic role, is very somber. But the thing is, it's just the problem is that, like, it's my experience too with Apollo is, and I think it's not even just Apollo, but I think it's very prevalent in Apollo worship, but they do it with all the gods, is they do make them very one-dimensional, and they do treat them all, yeah, like they kind of treat them basically like how Christians view the Christian God, like all loving, like they're benevolent, all loving, could never be capable of cruelty or being scary or having like actual complex personalities like us. They kind of see them as just like, yeah, they like, it's like they like treat them like children almost, or animals. How like you look at your pet, they kind of treat like I treat Moo Kitty, and Moo Kitty hates that. Yeah, and it's just, it doesn't fit. It just doesn't all. It just, I kind of want to have a discussion with people like that, because I'm like, what are you just negating everything that's in mythology and in the epithets and in the actual religion? Or did you just not look at any of that and you just decided that this is what you are, that's what you're worshiping, not. Let's see. Okay, you want my take? I will give you my take. As Apollo is very commonly the first deity, baby Hellenists reach out to this one. This is because these people are younger. Oh yeah, they're definitely young. Absolutely. That's, like I said, because it's the problem. They do it with not just deities. They treat a lot of them like fictional characters ultimately. Oh yeah, mythology is important. I know I give mythology a lot of shit, but that's because people put everything into mythology. Like people treat mythology like it's the Bible. Like that is all you need is to just look at mythology and that's it. So that's why I sound like I hate mythology, but mythology is extremely important. Mythology is where we find why they have the symbols, the attributes, and the associations that they do. It does give us some kind of indication of their personality. It's just not fully. It's not, you won't get their complete personality and what they've done and who they are from just mythology. But you'll get ideas of it, like the way Apollo is in mythology, where he's very like, I always say Apollo is, out of all of the gods, the one that absolutely knows he is a god and he expects to be treated like a god. And if you don't, then he has no problem reminding you that he is a god. Yeah, it's because to me, I loved the Greek gods. Like before I even knew I could worship them, I loved them. And the reason I loved them was because they were nothing like the Christian God. Like they weren't all loving and they weren't always benevolent. Like they had personalities. They had complexities to them. Like they basically, I always say that the Greek gods are kind of like if humans were immortal and had divine power. They get moody, they get angry, they have emotions. Everything isn't all sunshine and rainbows. Because the thing is, to me, that makes sense because nature, the universe that we live in, just is not all. It's not all good. It's not all kind. There's cruelty to it. The storms that we get, and the the viruses, and like the diseases that develop and everything. It's not all sunshine and roses. So it makes sense. That makes more sense to me than having like a all loving God. Then it's like, well, if you're all loving, why is all this shitty things happen? And especially if you're all powerful, all knowing, all loving, why is the world the way that it is? Like, why did these things happen? Why is cancer a thing? Like, to me, not saying that because the Greek gods are aren't one-dimensional, that's why diseases exist. But it's more, to me, it plays into the balance of the world of good and bad and kind and cruel. You know what I mean? You guys are talking so much. It's a good thing. Don't stop. Keep doing it. Let's see. Okay, this is where I was. Oh, Persephone, that's good. Mythology will tell us that Hades and Persephone are married, but it won't tell us how they were married. That's good. I think that is a equinox moon. I get that feeling of like cherry picking because I do struggle with that in a lot of ways with my view of mythology. You know, as much as I seem to have a very clear handle on how I view mythology, there's still aspects of it that I struggle with and trying to figure out exactly what role it plays in things. Because you're right, it is to say things like, these are just characters, these aren't the gods that I worship, but then to also say, well, there are aspects that are the same, sometimes feels a little like, yeah, like you're cherry picking, or you're just like manipulating things to fit whatever you want to believe. But unfortunately that's what we have to work with. I always think that I feel like it's hard. Mythology is difficult for me, especially because, I've studied ancient Greece as a culture, as a civilization. So there's so many things that I can see within the mythology that it's just very clearly ancient Greek. It's just so clearly like that it feels like people wrote those based on what they believed, what their culture dictated to them, and things like that. But at the same time, it's hard to then, because then I feel like if you just look at it in that sense, then mythology kind of has, what meaning does mythology have then? So sometimes I think like I kind of try to find the balance of that. Maybe there's truth to it. Because the thing is I feel like it's the same thing as if like we today were to sit down and to write stories about our gods, because we will, while it might not necessarily be 100% accurate of who they are because it's a story, we're going to put in there how we interpret them and how they come to us. You know what I mean? So that's why I do still believe that mythology has truths to it, because this is how whoever wrote them or told those stories, it's how they're interpreting the gods and maybe how the gods came to them. So for them, that's the way they see the gods, and a lot of also ways things get manipulated a little bit to feed certain biases and to teach certain lessons and just for strict entertainment. And also a big one was to legitimize family and lands. But I do think that there's some, because a lot of things match up with epithets. When you look at the epithets, you can kind of see where these gods rule over, and for Apollo has epithets that definitely align with him being more on, like, him having a more darker, I hate saying the word cruel because it seems, I don't want to freak anybody out, but cruel. Cruel. And yeah, it's written in the epithets. While there's no epithet for someone being, I don't know, but like for sexually assaulting people, because that also that got added in later on and all that, because I know that's like a big thing that people get hung up on all the time. And yeah, I feel like I'm rambling again. You guys are used to me rambling. I ramble even when I'm writing, and I'm rambling when I'm talking. But I understand like the worry of like cherry picking and all that. But that's what happens when we're with a religion that does not really have anything so strict and written down, and like the Bible, we kind of are sitting here like we're kind of sitting here trying to figure things out and wrap it around our own brains and bring it to the modern world. Like, it's a whole, that's why I get really frustrated when people really try to treat this religion like there's just one way for all of it. Like, if there's one way to think about it, there's one way to process it, there's one way to interpret it, to do it, to experience it, to express it. Like, because I'm like, there isn't. There's nothing written, really nothing written in stone. And again, we're in the year 2020 now, when we're not Greek. You know, we're all coming from different places. We're all different ages. We're all different genders and sexualities. And so there isn't, like, we all have to kind of like wrap our brains around this however way makes sense. Oh yeah, Ovid just was a jerk. He's making my life so difficult now. Okay. Yeah, it says that Apollo's name means destroyer. He's not. It's very interesting to me that of all of the gods, he's the one that got. He definitely. He's very interesting because some of the gods are misunderstood in very similar ways. Of, like, you know, Ares and Hephaestus are very misunderstood, and Zeus is misunderstood, and a lot of it is because of, you know, what they are seen to represent and their mythology. But then you have Apollo, who's misunderstood in a very different way because he's so popular, but the parts of him that are so popular were things that were perpetuated later on, and not necessarily the things that he was really known for in his worship. And then he just got kind of like turned into like a walking fandom. Yeah, Medusa was already in the original stuff. Medusa was already a Gorgon. She didn't get turned into one. That's another thing. And I talk about this all the time, but I'm always going to talk about it because there's different versions of these stories. So it's like you can't put everything on one story and be like, this is the truth. It's like, no. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Jax. I definitely do. I think they just have I think they just tend to view the gods like they would a fictional character that they really like, because that's exactly how they seem to treat the gods. It's very much like a like they do. It reminds me a lot of the way that I was when I was younger, and how, yeah, I treated. Actually, you know what? Yeah, it makes complete sense, because not only how I treated fictional characters, but also how I treated band members. These freaking men who were like at least 10 years older than me, and I'm like, my baby. Embarrassing. But yeah, that's probably. Oh, I could definitely talk about that. Zoe? Um, for me, media centered around the gods. Um, I don't enjoy most of it. It's gotten to the point now where, like, before it was definitely that I was very offended by it. Even when I wasn't a Hellenic polytheist, I didn't like it. Even though I was a fan of Percy Jackson, I was very angry with a lot of the portrayals of the gods. Like, I hated Dionysus because that wasn't Dionysus, that was Bacchus. I hated Persephone. Oh, I hated Persephone. Um, yeah, like I just didn't like any of the portrayals. And then becoming a Hellenic polytheist just further made me hate the way the gods were portrayed in media. And now it's less that I'm offended, it's more that I'm just fucking bored. Like, you guys are doing the same shit over and over and over again. How about you actually, like, do some fucking research and look at how the gods really are and put that on screen? Because that would be different. That would be cool. You know, because it just gets really, like, it's just tiring at this point. You know, and it's cliche. It's like, okay, Ares is going to be an asshole, you know, and apparently Apollo is a dick. And it's so that I'll never get over Wonder Woman. Ugh, don't even get me on that. But yeah, Lore of Olympus, I've never read it. I never will, because people told me what they did to Apollo, and I'm like, okay, no, I'm not doing that. But yeah, so I am very hesitant of any media that portrays the gods because I've yet to find one that I actually really enjoy. I watched a little bit. I think it was it Troy, the TV show on Netflix? I watched a little bit of that, and that was actually decent. I really loved that they did different races as all the gods and Achilles and Patroclus. That I appreciated. Sorry. I thought that was at least different because I liked that they're showing the idea that these are gods. They can be whatever skin color, you know, and that even with Achilles too. People were pissed about that, and I was like, why? I think that's fucking cool. But yeah, was that? But mostly the one, like, books are really the only kind of media that I found that I like the way the gods are represented. Like, I'll always talk about Madeline Miller's books. I fucking love Madeline Miller's books. Like, those are great. I want more from her so bad, and I want her, like, more of the actual gods because I love the way that she portrays them. So, oh yeah, Hadestown's a good one. Zoe, that I don't know why I forgot about Hadestown. Hadestown's good. You knew I was gonna mention Madeline Miller. You just knew. I have a Madeline Miller fangirl. I can't help it. Yeah, Ella, but, like, there's a way to make them a villain without being cliche about it and being stupid about it. Like, Wonder Woman, that was stupid. Because even in their story, it made zero sense. Like, it was all they did is that was just Lucifer's. That was Lucifer's story. But they put the Greek gods in it. Because, you know, it was all the idea that Ares didn't like humans and didn't want to, like, was all mad about the humans, and then he killed everybody, and then, you know, like, it was this, which is so dumb to me because I'm like, he's the god of war, and the humans are flawed and are easily manipulated into starting war. Wouldn't he like the humans then? And also, the big question is, how the fuck was Ares able to defeat all the gods himself? Makes zero sense. That's my whole thing. Like, if you're gonna do it, then make it at least interesting. Yeah, Ella, definitely, like, Hades in Hadestown was good. But that's what I'm saying. It was different. It wasn't that typical, like, you know, they actually had the two of them in love. Like, that they actually loved each other, as opposed to the idea of, like, he kidnapped her and now she's all like, what, like, whatever Percy Jackson did. You know, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna make them the villains, that's fine. I'm not against making them villains, but be interesting about it. Oh man, I hated the Percy Jackson movies. I only watched the first one and I hated it. Oh, it was so bad. But to each his own. Because yeah, they make, that's the same. It's the anyone that's any god that's associated with death is evil. Hence why in Thor Ragnarok you had Hela as the villain. And then you have and then if a god that's seen, you know, attached to war, it's Ares, he's got to be the villain. Yeah, that's the thing too that bugs the shit out of me. I was, especially because I was reading a Wonder Woman comic. I think it was the Earth One comic. I think it was. Do I still have it? No. I was reading one of the Wonder Woman comics, and they specifically had the Amazons talking about how Athena, was it Athena and Aphrodite? I think it was Athena and Aphrodite are basically kind of like their patrons. And I was just like, listen, I love my girl Aphrodite, but Ares is their father, and actually it's Ares and Artemis that are the Amazons' patrons. So every time they had like the Amazons talking about Aphrodite and Athena, I was just like, it's Ares. Oh yeah, where the gods die. Like, I remember playing God of War, and it was like, I felt so weird. I'm like, am I killing the gods? Like, this feels really wrong for me to do that. Most of those kinds of shows do that. Like, don't even get me started on Supernatural. I like, I always, even when I like was a huge Supernatural fan, I always I always dreaded any episode they had with like the pagan gods in it, because it was just so bad. Oh, Hela was great though. I definitely, but I mean, I know really hardly anything about the Norse religion or the pantheon or anything, so I do where Whatever. Yeah. Right. See, I still need to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey. See, that one I think is going to be good. I have it. I just haven't, because I just know I'm going to get sucked into it. Although I say that, and I pre-ordered Animal Crossing, and I'm definitely going to be sucked into that. Oh, come Friday. Yeah, that was. I did know enough to know that Hel was Loki's daughter, so that was a little. And then the dog, the big wolf or whatever that she had, that's her brother. Yeah, I'm part of a few aminos. I don't really keep up with them, but they seem they remind me of Tumblr. A lot of the stuff there is the same stuff you're gonna find on Tumblr. I don't really, I'm not really active on there as much. I try to be, but they seem fine. That. Who wants to be a mod? I'll assign mods. Who wants to be a mod? So I don't have to worry about it. I think we need mods. So who wants to be a mod? Wait, I think this person. Okay. Then how do I do it? Okay. Okay. All right, well, I'll just remove them. Okay. All right, so Zoe and Kona, you guys are mods. No, thank you guys for volunteering to be mods. Anyway, yeah, so Amino. So yeah, Amino, I'm not on it that much, but from what I see, it's fine. Oh, so one of the things I did actually want to talk to you all about and ask your opinions on is April is coming up. And April is a big month for me because it's Aphrodite April. And which means it's a month all for Aphrodite and everything that Aphrodite represents. So a lot of like self-love stuff and things like that. So I'm curious if you guys had any ideas on things to do that I could do during that month to, celebrate. I know one of the things that I'm definitely, she's finally going to get a real podcast episode, not just the one about mine and her relationship, but she's going to get a full one going into you know, her complexities and everything, and things like that. April is about Apollo. He probably will. I will put money down that he will absolutely find a way to take over. Apollo August. I know, I'm gonna have to give him a month, aren't I? I'm gonna have to give him a month. I'm gonna have to give him a month. I think May would be a good, though. Well, because the reason I do April for Aphrodite is because April was is seen as her sacred month because it was sacred to Venus. I was actually thinking about doing something like doing live streams and things like every Friday in the month of April because Friday's her sacred day. So doing like something every Friday together as like a community, yet maybe doing like rituals or something or prayer to Aphrodite. Oh yeah, July. That's good. But I was also thinking about when Apollo and Artemis's birthday is. I think it's May. Yeah. Yeah, I said I was going to throw them a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. See, I like how I'm talking. See, he's already doing it. I'm trying to talk about Aphrodite April, and everybody's just like, would try to pick what day Apollo, what month Apollo's month will be. Oh my God, Apollo. Why do you do this to me? Yeah. It's Apollo January, Apollo February, Apollo March. It's so true. He is. No, bye, Equinox Moon. Thank you for hanging out with us. But yeah, so I kind of am trying to think of different things to do. So yeah, I was actually thinking about doing every Friday, have like a meetup where we do rituals or prayers and discussions about Aphrodite, not Apollo. Aphrodite, not Apollo. I was also thinking about doing creating, well, I do have a 30 days of Aphrodite challenge that we've been doing now for I think 2 years. But I was thinking about, because that's definitely very much designed for people kind of just starting out. And so I was thinking about maybe making another one to that for maybe like deeper, like diving deeper into Aphrodite, and also maybe doing a self-love challenge. When's my month? Good. Now everybody's gonna want a month. They're all gonna show up and they're gonna be like, excuse me, when's my month? Where's my month? Where's my month? I'm gonna be like, listen, I'm an Aphrodite devotee, okay? And me and Aphrodite are kind of going steady. So she gets a month. And Apollo gets a month because he's not gonna leave me alone until I give him a month. I actually was supposed to do that last year. Last year, the goal was to have each. I made a whole 12. It was called 12 Months of the Theoi. And it was each god got a month. And then what I was supposed to do, didn't do it. What I was supposed to do was make podcast episodes about those specific gods. That's why you had the Zeus ones come out in January, and then the Hephaestus ones come out in February, and then March. This is technically Aries month, by the way. We're in Aries month right now. That's when Aries stuff came out. So I think I know in my 12 months of Theoi, I gave Poseidon August because I just felt right for him because it's like usually the hottest month, and I think about going swimming. Wow, this guy sucks. Okay. I can't believe I have like all these freaking trolls. What the hell? How am I that popular? Anyway. I put Dionysus in November. It was my calendar was Zeus was January, Hephaestus was February, Aries was March, Aphrodite was April, Athena was May, Hera June, Apollo was July, Poseidon was August, September. I think September was Demeter. Yeah. Yeah, September was Demeter, and also I've had Hades and Persephone all together in September. October was Hermes, and Dionysus was November, and Artemis was December. You can, yeah, like, I want to make a podcast episode about this because I actually went through a whole kind of learning experience about how like our relationships with the gods are different, like not even just as individuals, but like with each god that we worship, it's different, and it doesn't always have to look the same as everybody, you know, as the other gods that you worship. So like you can honor gods, not necessarily, you don't have to worship them or honor them or devote yourself to them like every single day. You know, like the god that you're a devotee to, typically you do, but like gods that you just kind of want to like get to know or you just want to give thanks to, you don't have to do it every single day or even all year. You can do like have a day of the week that is just for that god, or even a day of the month. Like a lot of gods have a sacred day of the month, so you can use that. You can have just certain devotional activities that are just geared towards that god. You can also have specific times of the year that is when you specifically worship that god, but then you don't for the rest of the year. Like I've kind of am developing where I work primarily with Artemis in the winter, but in the other seasons I don't really. I may honor her on the 6th and then on her certain festivals, but as for like really worshiping her routinely, I only do that in the winter. Someone on Tumblr called me like the queen of devotional acts, and I was like, that is the best thing ever. Because I love devotional acts so much. Dionysus does not have a sacred day. The only ones that have a sacred day are Athena is the 3rd of every month. Aphrodite, Hermes, and also Eros, but Aphrodite and Hermes are the 4th. Artemis is the 6th, Apollo's the 7th, and Poseidon is the 8th. There's also, I think the 8th is also like some of the heroes. Like I think Heracles is in there too, but for God's sake, those are the only ones that have like sacred days. So I would actually recommend, if you want to incorporate that kind of worship where you have like sacred, like you honor a god once a month on a sacred day, I would say create your own. Like Persephone doesn't have one, so I use the half moon. Because to me that feels very symbolic of her having the dual roles of death and growth, you know? So I do the half moon. So but you can kind of pick what day you think fits and have that be the day that you honor Dionysus. Let's see. Oh, bye, Zoe. Barking, Jesus. I had Hades and Persephone in September with Demeter because that's when Persephone goes to the underworld. So I put them all together in September. But yeah, you could do October too. I just gave October to Hermes because Hermes is the guide of souls. So that seemed right to me. Oh, that's a smart idea, Jax. Had dance classes every week, so I normally devote the art of dancing to Apollo and the actual workout of dance to Ares. You're getting a bang for your buck there. That is a smart idea. Right, Bonnie? They are. They are such a game changer. I fucking love devotional acts. That's okay, Ella. Don't worry about it. Okay, little dandelion. Thanks for hanging out. Enjoy your dinner. I did a whole breakdown. If you guys want the post, I can link you to it, but I shared my festival calendar and a little bit on how I went about doing it. So it was a pain in the ass. I'm not going to lie. Oh, it was such a pain in the ass making that freaking calendar, but I did it. Did I do anything for Friday the 13th? I think I did. I went somewhere. Where did I go? I didn't think I did it for Friday the 13th, but I don't know. I just think devotional acts have more meaning in it, especially I think for those of us in the modern world. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I feel like you can still see and hear me. So, um, devotional acts just have like, I think they just do so much good because you're able to connect with the gods, but then you're also helping yourself in the process. So I think they like feel, I think they feel more meaningful. Okay. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't. I think it's just also like, I think it's hard for us because we're not really programmed for that. Like the idea of like just sitting food out and being like, here you go, this is for you. And then just kind of like, I think it feels, I think, a little empty for some people. And that's why I think like we like sharing food is still a very important cultural thing for most of us. But I think we especially like show gratitude and love by like doing things that we enjoy with other people, you know? Like that's part of friendship is you go and do things together that you like. So I think that's why, and also like with certain devotional acts, it's kind of also feels like you have the God kind of cheering you on, so if it's like your workouts, or if it's practicing a certain skill or whatever, and you're doing it in honor of them, it kind of also feels like they're enjoying it through you, and also that like they're cheering you on. So it just it has more meaning. That is so cute. Even think about the idea of using moo as a devotional act. Huh. Get some use out of that little stinker. Yeah, Bonnie, I feel the same way. It is really weird. They do. The gods do love Moo Kitty. They really do love her. Yeah, a lot of people talk about doing going to the theater in honor of Dionysus. Especially they were saying like on his festivals, that's definitely something you can do to honor him. I think um I was talking about this on my Tumblr recently about the idea of modernizing Hellenic polytheism, and to me that I think that's just super important because to me it just, while I think it is also extremely essential that we know the traditions and we know how the ancient Greeks did things. I think that it's it's not wrong for us to want to express our love for the gods and our religion in a way that makes sense to us, because we're not ancient Greeks living in ancient Greece. We are in the year 2020. We're all across the globe, you know, and I think we should be allowed to, you know, worship in that way. If you don't have a lot of money, that's fine. You really don't need money to worship at all. One of my favorite quotes is actually all about how Apollo's favorite let me see if I can find it. It's the idea how Apollo's favorite worshiper basically is the one that consistently gave modest offerings as opposed to the one that gave elaborate, expensive ones without any real thought into it and all willy-nilly like. So you don't need money. You can give a cup of water. If that's all you have to offer, you can give a cup of water. And devotional acts are free. Devotional acts can be whatever it is that you want them to be, and they're free. So I think I find it. No, I probably can't. Also, researching the gods themselves is actually a way to bond with them. You know what? Let me try this. Ha! I found it. Okay. This is a quote. I love this quote. It's my favorite thing. A story is told that there was a man who had made many costly and lavish offerings to Apollon, but was told by the Pythia that the truest worshiper of the gods was instead a man in Arcadia who garlanded his household statues each month and made modest offerings at all the festivals. So, yeah, Apollo, as much as he comes off like, high maintenance, he doesn't need expensive gifts. Wait, why are we talking about SpongeBob? Apple pie, that's great. Yeah. Even something as simple as just lighting a candle and saying thank you. I like to just, light my candles and say good morning and thank you for the new day. I would love to learn how to be a blacksmith. That would be so cool. I'm really trying to develop actual useful skills. I'm going to start trying to grow my own food. We'll see how that goes. May Demeter be with me. Oh, Conan, I'm glad you're liking it. I'm glad that everyone's having a good time. I think he lives underwater. Yeah. He's a god. He should be able to. Shouldn't he? I think everyone thinks he lives like King Triton from The Little Mermaid. That's what I think, at least. Do you know it's believed that Aphrodite turns into a mermaid when she goes into the water? What are we all talking about? You guys are crazy. Yes, it is true. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out. Yeah, I read somewhere that they believed she turned into a mermaid when she went into the water. Ooh, sculpting and modeling. That sounds great. I'm glad you all liked that little bit of information. Is there something else I wanted to talk about? I don't know. We're just hanging out at this point. Oh, I know one concept I wanted to talk about since we're talking about, well, we're always talking about the gods, but one concept that keeps coming up over and over and over and over again, that Aphrodite especially brings up all the time, is the idea of surrendering. And I don't know if any of you have this problem, but I have this problem where I have a hard time giving up like control. And I definitely like hold on to things so strongly and try my hardest to like just like figure out how things are gonna end up, and needing to know every single detail and everything, not like getting really anxious about the unknown and things like that. And I've been getting like a constant just kick in the face that the gods are like, specifically Aphrodite, that she's like, you need to like just surrender whatever it is that you're feeling, whatever situation you're going through. You have to surrender it to me and just have faith that I'm going to take care of it, that I'm not going to steer you wrong. And that's just the thing that's been going on and on and on for me. And I was curious if any of you have that, like if any of you have that kind of like issue or dealing with that or do that, where you actually like give your problems or give certain feelings and emotions to the gods and go, okay, they got my back, and then walk away from it, because I'm struggling with that. But it's the thing that like Aphrodite keeps telling me over and over and over and over again. Yes, I know, Ayla. I know. That's it. I know. The gods know, you don't. I'm telling you, Aphrodite like was like, yes. Listen to Ayla. It's so fucking hard because I have like anxiety and perfectionism, so I'm just like constantly I need to like control everything. So that's been like the thing I've been trying to do lately, is just kind of like, my hair keeps sticking up. I keep doing like just actually just giving my feelings in certain situations to Aphrodite and just being like, okay, she's got it under control. So surrendering is the idea that like if you're feeling some type of way, or you're in a certain situation, what you basically, the idea of surrendering is you give those feelings, you give that situation to the gods. So what you may do is you may pray to them and you may tell them what's going on, and you may say like, I need help with this, I'm a little lost, or whatever situation that you're in. And then you ask them for them help, and then it's essentially giving them control over the situation, giving it to them, and stepping back from it and trusting and having faith that the gods are going to either resolve it or give you the tools that you need to resolve it, or, you know, put opportunities in front of you that'll help you resolve it. I don't know if that helps make any sense, but oh, thank you, Ayla. Yeah, it is, but it's like it's the thing that every tarot reading I have done with Aphrodite, I keep pulling the Hangman, and the Hangman is really a lot is about surrendering. You know, it's about understanding that you just don't have certain control and just kind of like accepting situations the way that it is. And I kept pulling that over and over again. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. I get it, Aphrodite. I get it. But apparently I have not got it yet. Well, I think in a lot of ways, like, you can do both. I think in a lot of ways you can surrender and also help yourself, because I don't necessarily think that surrendering automatically means the gods are going to solve everything for you. I think, you know, what they'll do is they'll help in certain ways. Um um because the thing is that what I've learned a lot with the gods is the gods help those who help themselves. So I think in a ways, like, you do have to still help yourself in order to get the help from the gods. You know what I mean? But I think, like, for me, I just have a tendency of gripping so hard to situations and like analyzing everything to the point of like madness and like making myself really like depressed and anxious ridden. So I think like that's the problem. Yeah, Bonnie, I think that's a good way to say it. It is like a stop worrying. It's kind of like believing that, having faith that the gods are going to help you in some way. That you don't have to freak out so much because, you know, like, I think a good example, you know what, this is a perfect example. Like my situation right now, I'm currently unemployed. I'm looking for a job, and um I had and I've been kind of like really down on the fact that I've applied to places. I'm specifically trying to get into a library, and I've been applying and all that, and I had gotten a letter of possible employment, but then it fell through. So I've been really like down about it, but then all of this happened, and I'm kind of like, "Oh, I think it all, like, it's happened, like, things I feel like happen for a reason, like Aphrodite is keeping me safe right now, or the fact that it's like all the libraries are shut down anyway. So I wouldn't have been working anyway, you know? So it's like that kind of, I don't know if that makes it, you know, the idea that she's got my back. So, you know, it's just, it wasn't the right time. And she knew that because, as Ayla says, the gods know, we don't. So she knew what was coming and what was going on, and that now was not the right time. And it's actually was better to not have a job and just be able to just stay home and not be around other people and not have to worry. And then when this all settles, then possibly I'm going to actually have more offers and whatever. Oh, bye, Anna. Yes, definitely, Ayla. Yes, this the interaction between us was absolutely divine influence. Yeah, see, like that's and I was like really upset about it because I was like, you know, I'm like, I want, why am I not working? And I'm trying to like, be independent and be an adult and all that. And it was just like, and I was super excited about this possible job. And I think they kind of realized what was going to happen because this like really just before it all hit was when I was possibly going to interview, and they decided they weren't going to fulfill that position. It wasn't even like they didn't want to interview me. It was that they decided they didn't want to fulfill the position. So then when it all happened, I was like, oh, I wonder if that's why they decided that it might not be the best time to have new hires. And yeah, then it was literally within like 2 weeks is when it all hit. So, and yeah, and I was even like beating myself up for the idea that maybe I shouldn't have left my old job, but my old job is actually still open during all this. They just have shorter hours. They're still, and I'm like, no, like, So in a way, it's kind of like a lot of things have worked out, and a lot of things do tend to work out. So I feel like I need to have more faith in the gods, but it's hard. Wow, Ayla, that's interesting. Wow. Yeah, I didn't even think to, look back on things and to see if they make more sense now. Yeah. So I think for me, it's definitely kind of really understanding. Like, I think a lot of it too is I think like Aphrodite, especially because she's usually the one that's always blessing me, is like, why do you seem to not believe that I'm here and that I'm gonna help you? Like it feels a lot like, like if you keep doubting your friend, like who's been there for you constantly, and you're like, well, I don't know. I wasn't sure if you were gonna come through. It's like, when have I not? So I think it's also a little bit insulting to her that I don't surrender more to her and just be like, ah, Aphrodite will take care of it. Oh, speaking of the idea of surrendering, I actually really like, I want to reread this book, but from what I've read this one and this book, Outrageous Openness, this one is basically all about surrendering to a higher power. It says letting the divine take the lead. And this is actually the book that got me on the really got me like in the mindset of the idea that you could surrender things to the gods and have them kind of give things to them and then kind of not worry about it. And for me, who has a lot of anxiety, that's a really scary but also probably a really good concept to have, because again, like I said, I will analyze things just all day, 24/7, and make myself crazy. But so yeah, if you're interested in that idea of surrendering, I really like this book. It's inspired me a lot. Anyway, can I link it? Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Let me see if I can. All right. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go away. Okay, I'll just do it. No. Okay. Here is the Amazon link to it, but you know, of course, I would definitely check the light. Why are you not sending? No, it's too long. What? That's rude. Oh, that's better. Okay, that should work. Yep, there you go. I would definitely check libraries though, because that's when I first saw. I first got it was through the library, and then I ordered this copy off of Thrift Books, and it was like only like $5. I love Thrift Books. Do we still have like so many trolls? Jesus Christ. Let's see. I agree with the idea of like normalizing Hellenic polytheism, and honestly like just other pagan religions in general and polytheism as a whole. Oh, I'm glad that I can make you feel better. Yeah, I was really bummed too, and then like when everything happened, I was like, "Oh, being unemployed is actually like really good right now." I could just sit at home. We don't have to worry about getting anybody in, you know, getting anybody sick, me getting sick. My thoughts on the pillars of Hellenism. I actually spoke about that in the ethics and values live stream. I think it was like the first live stream that we did. I talked about the pillars of Hellenism, but it's important. I don't know. Yeah, I think I talked about that. That they're not an like a thing. Like they're a thing, but the whole concept of the pillars of Hellenism is not a thing. Somebody created, like someone in the modern world created that. So and it seems like a lot of people kind of pick and choose which ones they follow. I prefer to follow more of the Delphic maxims and to use those as a way to kind of create a basis of my worship and my values and my ethics and all that. I don't know, but I think there's a lot of good stuff in the pillars though. But yeah, I talked a lot more about it. I in the ethics and values live stream. It was like the first thing we discussed too, so you don't even have to watch like the 4 hours of it. Oh, I love book hunting. It's like my favorite thing to do. Like every time I go in the city, I have to go to Strand bookstore and just go through their ancient Greece section. I love it so much. That's I totally understand you, Manic Pixie, because like I have that problem too, where it's like the pagans around me are usually like Wiccans, or like not necessarily Wiccans, but like very that typical, like I'm trying to think of how to describe them, but like there's just that typical white suburban witch. You know what I mean? That's all like is gonna be the one that like has uh a dream catcher that they got from like not Native Americans, and they're the ones that are talking about like smudging and and they're gonna be talking about Hindu gods, even though there's like white as snow, like like those kinds of people. So, and those always make me a little uncomfortable because it's just like I'm so I'm just so mindful of cultural appropriation and always trying to do my best to not cause harm to others. And that it's like, and then it's like creates this awkward kind of like, do I tell them? Do we have this discussion? Are they going to listen to me? Oh, the Coachella witches. That, I like that. That's perfect. That's a good way to describe them. They're the Coachella witches. Yeah. That it's just like I just can't. I have like it's just I have such a hard time because it just doesn't align with like my ethics and values and everything. So, or the ones who like have like I'm gonna who have like gypsy in their username or whatever. Hi, Moo. You wanna come say hi? No. She's like she stands just out of arm's reach, so I can't pet her. Literally just stands right out of arm's reach. Hi, Zoe. We were talking about surrendering to the gods, Coachella witches. Yeah, exactly. They're like, yeah, she's like, she just completely stood out of arm's reach. She just sat there and just stared at me. She's so ridiculous. She's very mean to me. I just want to love her. Yeah, basically. She's so like. Now she's just sitting all the way over there. Now she's just really far away, but she's like taunting me because she's like, look, I'm really cute and fluffy, but you can't pet me. Yeah, Moo Kitty is the ultimate drama queen. Oh my god, this cat. Also, the freaking like looks she give me. There isn't one in the Hellenic pantheon. There's not. It's really other pantheons have one like more cat associations. Obviously, there's Bast in Egyptian. I think is it Freya that has a chariot pulled by cats in Norse. But yeah, in Greek we don't have really cat associations. A lot of people just kind of go with Hecate because even though she's mainly associated with dogs, a lot of people kind of associate her with all animals. Yeah. Dionysus is associated with big cats. So I guess you could also go with Dionysus. Yeah, then there is Artemis. That is that Artemis is like kind of the goddess of just wildlife in general. But yeah, as for someone who, as someone who is like, you know, like has any kind of like real association just to cats, we don't have that. How long is this going on for? We haven't been here that long. I mean, yeah, Hecate definitely is. Hecate is definitely one I see all the time. I think especially because she is association to witchcraft, and we generally associate cats with witchcraft. So I think that's why Hecate really gets associated strongly with cats. And she's just sitting there, slowly blinking at me. All right. Yeah, but for us, it's not that long. I have live streams that have gone on for 5 hours, so 2 hours, that's nothing. That's nothing. All right, so do you guys have any questions or anything? Because I don't know what else to talk about. Yeah. We jump around. We talk a lot. It was a thing back in ancient Greece. Because they did believe it wouldn't. They believed in magic and everything, and like necromancy and all that, and that's what Hecate was associated with. So yeah, that was a traditional association. No, I wouldn't be wrong, Dylan. Oh yeah, it did go for 8 hours, didn't it? Damn. Yeah. I know it's funny because I watch live streams from other YouTubers, and like they get to like an hour and they're like, "Oh, I've been here an hour. That's too long." And then I gotta go, and I'm like, "Okay, well, what does it say about me that I could sit here and have everyone stare at my face for 8 hours?" I think, Ella, that's definitely like, I think a lot of people struggle with that in some way or another, with certain anxiety towards, abandonment, and whether the gods actually care about them, whether they're actually listening, whether if any of this is real or not, you know, how to deal with it. I talked a little bit in like my doubt and skepticism episode of my podcast that I kind of think one of the best ways to deal with certain things is to kind of analyze it a little bit, and to try to find, especially with anxiety in general too, and I say this as someone who has anxiety, is always to kind of like find, um like, is there proof for what you're feeling? Is there proof? Do you have proof that goes against what you're feeling? You know, and kind of look back on your experience with the gods to kind of try and reassure you. There's also bringing it to the gods themselves, as we were talking about the idea of surrendering, actually bring it to the gods and be like, I'm dealing with all of this and I don't know how to deal. And it could be that they could help you, they could help you figure it out. Um, I'm very much the type of person that likes to analyze everything. So I like to sit with like a journal and like just write and talk and like talk to other people about it, and then also like figure out where certain things are stemming from and why I feel that way, because most of the time those kinds of feelings are not really about the gods, and they're more about us and the mindset that we have, like, you know doubting that a god loves you or thinking that they're going to abandon you kind of, to me, sounds like it has a lot to do with how you view yourself. That you think, do you think that you're someone that someone would easily abandon, or do you someone that has to doubt that people actually care about you and love you because you have such a low sense of self that you're like, why would they? You know what I mean? Because I've noticed that a lot. People who have a lot of anxiety about and are really down about their relationships with the gods because they feel like they're going to disappoint them, that they're not going to be around, that they're going to do something that's going to upset them, and then they'll leave and they'll never come back. And a lot of it really kind of has more to do with how you view yourself and your own mindset and own sense of self than it really does about with the gods. I don't know if any of that helps. I feel like, again, I rambled. Yeah, a lot of people also struggle with the idea of like doing things the correct way because they don't want to offend the gods. But I think the gods, first off, I really don't believe there's really much of a way to really do worship so much that you do it wrong. Like, I think the way to do it wrong would be to like be super disrespectful or to just, be very arrogant about it, which if you're someone that's worrying so much, you're not going to do any of that. So I really don't think there really is a way to do worship wrong. And I also think that the gods would much rather have you actually engaging them and actually worshiping and starting a relationship and doing things for them and with them and in their honor, then maybe them helping you figure out and tweaking things and changing things around that you need to, more so than that you just being so scared that and hesitant that you just don't do it at all. You know what I mean? What? She's staring at me. She moved. She went over there now. She's staring out the window. But I think everyone answered the crows one. It's Apollo. Yeah, that too, Ayla. That's important too. That sometimes the gods do leave, but that doesn't mean they're gone forever. Like Apollo, as we were talking about earlier. Apollo leaves for the usually the winter months and then comes back. So, if you want, you can actually check out my podcast. It's on YouTube. It's also on Spotify. And I actually have a episode called The Mythology of Zeus that really kind of goes into mythology, like mythic the mythic deities versus the actual deities. And I kind of break it down. That's like all in there. I use Zeus's mythology as a way to kind of like explain how I go about viewing mythology. But the idea basically is that mythology was created by human beings who are biased and who were writing for entertainment, for legitimizing lands and families, for trying to perpetuate certain ideas and all these things. But really, it wasn't really about trying to explain who these gods actually are. So mythology is a little bit more like the gods in them are more like characters than they are the actual gods that are being worshipped. Like even the Greeks themselves didn't look at mythology as like completely and 100% this is sacred truths, If you look at the gods' epithets and their cults and the way that they were worshipped, their festivals, that's when you're going to get more of a sense of who the gods actually are. But yeah, definitely check out that episode, The Mythology of Zeus. I do, Kona, I absolutely do believe that the gods evolve. I actually was talking about this fairly recently. About like the idea that one of the reasons that we can explain why the Greeks saw the gods the way that they did was because that's how they were, that they maybe were a little bit more, I don't want to say, I hate using the word cruel, but they were a little bit more not as understanding and maybe a little bit more ready to react and got offended more easily. Like maybe maybe a little bit what we see in mythology isn't necessarily that it's not wrong. It's just not who the gods are today. Because I like to think that, the gods have been around for a very long time. And so they've watched us as a species grow and change and evolve and do things. And I imagine like when you watch something, like just think about even just in our lives, like as a parent watching a child grow or watching, your beloved pet go from being a kitten, a moo kitten to a moo kitty, like what, there's something you that's kind of how you start developing the feelings and you start to cherish it, there's something that happens. And I personally like to imagine that that's what happened with the gods, that they watched us and they've seen us go through so much as a species that there was a part of them that kind of grew more attached and more wanting and willing to help us out. So to where we get to now, where maybe the way that sometimes we see the gods is a little bit different than how the ancient Greeks did, because I think like we definitely treat them much more like they're a lot more understanding and they're much more willing and wanting to help and be involved in our lives and care about us like personally and individually, where I think the ancient Greeks didn't really fully, it wasn't like that. But I think it's because that the gods really grew attached to us. They just really, they're kind of rooting for us, and also considering with how times have changed, like they kind of had to adapt because they went from being, a whole civilization and then other civilizations around it worshiping them to hardly anybody, to people having to be in secret, to, their own, where their main worship was outlawed, having to, that they couldn't worship them and all that. So, you know what I mean? To now it's becoming a bigger thing. So I feel like they had to adapt in a way, because we're different too. So, they kind of had to evolve and grow with us, if that makes sense. That's a very interesting topic. And I've heard that before. The idea that the gods were human that just reached I think it's an interesting concept. It's not one that I think it's not one I think I can align myself with, because then it just feels like then anyone, not that anyone can be, but that it's a possibility that any one of us could reach that same status. And I think, the whole point of Hellenic polytheism, a big part of it is this idea that there is a clear gap and distance between us and the divine. And that's like very important. So I feel like that kind of theory kind of makes that gap a little bit hazy, Hero worship basically, hero worship basically works the same way as any worship does. Because most of the heroes, especially the famous heroes, were deified anyway. So, and Theseus too, he was worshipped like a god. So typically it's pretty much the same concept. Yeah, hero worship is a really good topic, and it's one that a lot of people are interested in, but it doesn't get talked about that much. And it's funny, which is funny because it was really a big deal in ancient Greece. So you'd think we'd talk about it more, but no. I think it's because a lot of people in the modern world don't have as much of an attachment to the heroes as they do the gods. I think that's the problem. Oh, are you coming over? Don't knock my mic over. I got to pet her. Oh yeah, I definitely believe that the gods and science are intertwined, like that it has to. It like I have to believe science is a thing, so I have to believe that the gods are part of it. One of the things that I actually like, one of the things that I've been trying to wrap my brain a little bit around this kind of concept and figure out what it is that I believe in. But one of the ways I explained it, I think, was the idea that it's kind of like, I don't necessarily believe the gods created everything, but I kind of believe that in some way, like, they turned on the machine and then watched and saw and like observed what had happened, like what it was going to do. Like, I kind of like something like that. Like, I definitely see them being a little bit more as observers than creators. At least, I guess, more in terms of like our creation. Like, that's kind of, I don't know. I just always have an image of the gods being a little bit more like, observers to things. And it's interesting too, because I feel like the way that the ancient Greeks kind of believed and how their religion was set up was this idea that while the gods are very super powered and very high above and everything, that even they have to answer to some kind of order of the universe. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not like it's very different than like how Christians view God, where it's like he is everything. Like he's above everything, like even the universe. He created the universe. So it's like he is everything. While in the ancient Greeks, it's not really like that um because there are still things in the universe that the gods are bound to, like fate. The gods are still bound by fate, and the gods are bound by oaths. So it's like there's a lot of things, and even um desire and love and lust, like, you know, they're not immune to these things. Like that's how Eros can do all the things that he does. So I kind of like that they that it's kind of like they're part of all of this with us. They're not necessarily above it. They're part of all of it, if that makes any sense. Oh yeah, the gods definitely don't want us to be willfully ignorant. I agree with that. I like that. Hallie. Comparing it to The Sims. It's true. The fates as deities. It's funny because I like you think about it. Well, the thing is that like it's hard with the fates because it's like in some ways it's seen as like it almost seems like the fates are the most powerful in a way, like because they have power over everyone and everything, regardless whether we're talking about divine or mortal. But then in some theories, it's that like they're an extension of Zeus. Hi. They're an extension of Zeus. So like so then that's kind of like, but then so then that still makes Zeus like the all powerful, you know? So it's like the fates are very interesting in like where they fit in because yeah, they um what was I saying? I got distracted. The fates are, you know, they seem to have a lot of say and control over everybody. And they're kind of I feel like they're really the ones that we all should be like buttering up to. I'm actually thinking of having doing more research on the fates. So it's funny you brought that up because I really wanted to research them more because they play such a yeah, they are kind of like a neutral party. They really are in a way because they don't they're not operating on their own personal emotions and everything. They seem to be operating on like some kind of guide or order of the universe. So, yeah, they're very well, you got me even more interested in them now that I'm thinking about it. But that's Dylan, that's a good thing, like, to bring up, because that's like the the gods, as powerful and as much as like they can do so much, they are still bound by certain things, certain laws of, the universe, that it seems that the fates hold. It's a very interesting concept. Yeah, that is true. They say that's how Apollo gets his prophecy, is through Zeus and the fates. Yeah, Lindsay, I agree. I To me, that makes more sense, and it just I just like that concept better, of the idea of feeling like, again, like, that the gods are kind of living in this universe with us. They're not necessarily like above it like the Christian God is. They're kind of living in the universe with us. They're just bound less by things than we are, but they're still bound to things. And to me, it just, yeah, it makes more sense to me. I think it also helps more too with the idea of science, you know, and what we know of, like, things like evolution and things like that, that it kind of makes more sense, instead of having these gods that control everything, that they control things, but they're not the ones behind every, every aspect of every part of this universe. Oh, the afterlife. Um my personal view of the afterlife, what I'd like to believe. Um I believe in reincarnation. So, I believe that we do go to the underworld, because the underworld makes a lot more sense to me than heaven and hell. That doesn't make any sense to me. Um, Underworld, that makes sense. That feels right. And I believe that we do go to the underworld, and that's where we stay until it's time for our soul to be reincarnated. Like, I don't believe our souls automatically get reincarnated. I believe that, for some of us, it may take some time. And I also like to think that we have a choice. Like, I think you can choose to stay in the underworld if you want, or be reborn if you want. So that's what I like to believe, that, yeah, that the underworld is real. That's the thing. And that's where we go. And we hang out there just chilling. And I get to pet Cerberus. um, no, but we get to hang out there, and then we get, reincarnated. Yeah, exactly. Like sitting in a wait. It is. It's like sitting in a waiting room. You're just sitting, you're just chilling. Yeah, because I don't think it's like an automatic thing. Oh, I did not hear that, Dylan. I never saw that. That when you're born, one of the fates comes up to your ear and whispers what kind of life you want. Oh, so I have one of the fates to blame for making me want such ambitious things, instead of like, what, easy, something easy. Yeah, I mean, I just like the idea of reincarnation, because the idea that, like, you only get one life is just really like, I don't know, doesn't make me that doesn't really motivate me, you know. They say, you know, like YOLO, and I'm like, no. NOLO. um Elysium, I don't know. I don't think necessarily, but I think the problem is that like the Greeks had a very clear definition of what a hero was, and here, and you know, I think every culture, every civilization, every country, every person is gonna have a different view on what a hero is. So, you know, I guess I think maybe that's like the VIP section of the waiting room. You know, like if you're a really good person and you lived your arete and you did what you had to do in that life, then yeah, you get to go to the VIP section and hang out there. NOLO, yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys liked it. Oh, what I'd be the god of? I don't know what I'd be the god of. Pizza. Can I be the god of pizza? I think I'd be the god of pizza. No. You know, god of emotions, I think. It is. It's the VIP section of the waiting room. It's where, you know, all the the good celebrities. Like Mr. Rogers is there. If he hasn't been reincarnated yet, that's where Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross and Steve Irwin are. Ooh, Lindsay, I like that. It's fun to entertain the idea that maybe the underworld doesn't follow time like our material world, and that we can be reincarnated in any time on Earth that fits. Ooh. So it's like the TARDIS. Oh, I like that. Wait, why was Poseidon was next to Hades? Poseidon was crying? Why was Poseidon crying? What happened? Yes, the true Holy Trinity. I'm like trying to get Moo to play with a laser pointer, and she's just watching it like, no. Mm. Mm. No, we're almost at 3 hours. Poseidon is definitely underrated. Poseidon is someone, yeah, he doesn't get brought up that much. Do you recognize the ringtone? Oh, I was gonna say, whoever knows what my ringtone is from, we're officially best friends. So Little Dandelion, we're officially best friends. You know where it's from. Oh, Zoe, we're best friends too. If you recognize my ringtone, then we are best friends. Because I don't know enough people who watch that show. I know. I love it so much. I want to get a star butterfly tattoo because I love her so much. I actually have the pop figure of her in her like yellow butterfly thing. Let me message my mom to tell her I'm on my. I can't talk to you. I'm on a live stream. I want to cosplay Star too. Oh my god, I want to cosplay Star. I want to cosplay Mabel from Gravity Falls, and yeah, I want to cosplay her and have Moo as Waddles. I have to cosplay Sailor Moon at some point. Oh, there you are. Jamie, you cosplayed Star? That's awesome. I love Star. Eclipsa does have big Hecate energy. Yeah. Ah, Lana Del Rey is just everything. I need to. I might. I love my ringtone so much though, but I keep wanting to change it to Lana Del Rey. I wake up to Lana Del Rey as my alarm. I love Lana Del Rey so much. It's like all I listen to. I don't think I listen to anything else anymore, which is just so funny because I went through a whole like I don't understand why everyone likes Lana Del Rey. I think Lana Del Rey is boring, and now look at me. Now look at me. But yeah, Poseidon definitely doesn't get like enough credit and is definitely not talked about a lot in, which I wonder why. Does anyone guess why he's not? I mean, we could say because of his mythology, but people love the other, people still kind of like, I was going to say people kind of like Zeus. Like, that sounded terrible. Kind of like Zeus. No, people like Zeus. People like Hades. Like why do people not feel as drawn to him? Is it because it seems like he doesn't have, is it kind of similar to Hephaestus where what he represents isn't, people don't necessarily fully connect with? Like Poseidon is pretty much the ocean, and he's also earthquakes, he's a lot of other things, but he's mainly seen as like the ocean. But a lot of people kind of look to, and I'm definitely guilty of this, but look to Aphrodite for that kind of association. I live near the ocean and I don't have that big of a connection to Poseidon. But like I said, I have Aphrodite that kind of does that. I am the god of pizza, I call it. No, I will tell you, I am the god of pizza, and my friends and family will agree because I am very snobby about pizza. I am. I will admit it. I'm snobby about pizza. I believe that If the pizza isn't from New York, then it's not pizza. Only New York has pizza. Whatever the rest, everybody else is trying to sell as pizza is not actually pizza. No. I don't know what it is, but it's not pizza. That's all I'm going to say. I live on an island. I'm surrounded by I'm just surrounded by water. So I also kind of feel like people didn't really give him, what? Yeah. Amphitrite is definitely very forgotten. But I feel like actually, I don't know, I feel like she's more thought about than, I feel like if people wanted an ocean deity, they would go for Amphitrite over Poseidon. Yeah, Kona, you can definitely step out if you need to. Anyone, if you guys need to leave because of what we're talking about, just does not vibe with you, you don't, it gives you anxiety, for whatever reason, you please do so. You do what you gotta do for you. Okay? Okay. I'm not gonna kill anyone for not listening to Lana Del Rey. Like I said, I went through a whole I was like, no, I don't understand the hype. This is boring. And now I'm obsessed. I don't listen to anything else. I know, that's but the thing, it could, you know what? It could just be the mythology because people are very cherry pick over whose mythology makes who unapproachable. But I mean, maybe that's mean to say that it's their cherry picking because maybe some people really just have a very strong reaction and get really triggered by certain mythology and not with others because maybe it really resonates to some similar situation. So it's not fair to I'm not going to be that mean to people because the truth is I don't know and I can't, judge people on that. But I do know there are some people, I've saw so many people try to take down Zeus by lifting up Hades, even though, if we're going by mythology, Hades mythology has him kidnapping, Persephone. So it's why is it that you can overlook one god's transgressions but not another? You know what I mean? So I wonder if a lot of it is people can overlook Hades and Zeus and other gods and what they've done, but not Poseidon. I think a lot too, because if you think about it, a lot of Poseidon's main mythology that people know is the Medusa one. And even when people try to with Hades and Persephone, people modernized it and made it more about love and more about Persephone being Persephone wanting to get away from Demeter or just wanting to live her own life and everything. So she wasn't that she was kidnapped or forced or anything like that. People reimagine that, and people reimagine in the Medusa myth, but they reimagined it so that it makes Athena look better, but it doesn't absolve Poseidon of anything. We're like detectives right now. We're let's see. Try to figure this out. Yeah, that's what I think. I think it might be that. or part of it. I think it's because most people probably mainly know because of the, and I think it's also because, you have Apollo, who he's got a lot of questionable mythology. I mean, look what he did to Cassandra, Daphne, who's the one that freaking cheated on him while she was pregnant with his baby, and then he sent Artemis. Woo! He sent Artemis after her. So Apollo has a lot of questionable mythology also that people apparently want to overlook and not talk about. But it's because first off, I'm going to say it's because he's pretty. It will get you very far. He's pretty. He's bisexual, and he's got other things that kind of make up for it. So it makes you, like the fact that he's all like a creative god, and music, everybody loves music, and so it's like he's got things that kind of make people want to overlook that or excuse all of that. Well, I think Poseidon doesn't really have that in his favor, where, it's very similar to Hephaestus, where what he's got, and even with Ares a little bit too, like the idea that what he represents doesn't really do him any favors in the modern world. Go on, yeah. Keep talking about. I'm gonna say it. He's pretty, Apollo. Okay, go on. Yes, I'm listening. Oh, bye, Ayla. Good luck with your schoolwork. But I don't think it's just about being like afraid of the ocean and everything. I think it's really just that the ocean is such a broad thing. I love the ocean. Like, I think I'm a perfect example. I love the ocean, but even I don't have a strong connection with Poseidon. I remember actually how I got to Aphrodite was because I wanted a sea deity to worship, and I specifically didn't. I felt no attachment to Poseidon whatsoever, and I was just like, that's not who I wanted to worship. So I remember looking through a sea deity book, or a sea witch book, that the sea deities listed in them, and Aphrodite was right there, and it was like, I didn't realize she was considered a sea deity, and I was like, oh, okay, but I specifically was very much like, I don't want to worship Poseidon. Not like because I'm like I have any feelings towards him, but that's the problem. I didn't have any feelings towards him. You know what I mean? But that's kind of like, bye, Juan. Thank you for hanging out. That's the thing that like I kind of always want to question. Let me turn my light on. Hold on. Hi. You can stop looking at me with your sad face. I gave Moo food. She was looking at me like, my bowl is empty. What are you gonna do about it? Anyway, so like one of the things that I was thinking about is now, is it a coincidence that a lot of the gods that people worship, talk to, interact with just so happen to be the most popular gods? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying anything against anyone. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but it's interesting how, I mean, you could say that one of the reasons they are popular is because they're the ones out interacting with, you know, with us the most. That's definitely a possibility. But then there's also that, like, you know, is it the popular gods because those are the gods that people know? You know what I mean? I don't think they worshipped the Fates like they would, like the Olympians. I don't think they worshipped the Fates. I do think they gave honors to them at some point, but I don't think they like really like worship them like they would worship like Zeus, or they might have worshipped the Fates in like in attachment to Zeus, because Zeus does have epithets that I think he has, the Zeus Morai, however you say it. So yeah, I think they didn't worship the god. They didn't worship the Fates like they did the other gods. Yeah, I know they leave pamphlets on our windshields. I mean, I definitely like don't think that I know like Apollo, I can't really say anything because I've been a lover of Apollo since I was younger. Like, he was my favorite, you know, and I loved him and I still do. So I can't say anything, but it's, you know, for me, when I started actually wanting to worship, you would have thought, like, seriously, if you would have known me when I was younger, you would have thought, oh, well, now you're going to worship Apollo. Like, that's just, you know? But I didn't. I didn't automatically go in that direction. That's just not what ended up happening. I went with Aphrodite, which to this day is still like, I wish I could really get people to understand how fucking weird it is that I did not worship Apollo, but I worshipped Aphrodite instead, because yeah, I had no attachment to Aphrodite when I was younger, like zero. I actually really didn't like Aphrodite. I was like, no. I felt I did not relate to her whatsoever. Didn't, you know, just no, nothing at all. So it's really still interesting that it's like where I am now in everything. Like, it's crazy to me. So that's why I think sometimes it's a little hard for me, because I went in a completely different direction. You know what I mean? I didn't go for the the obvious one that I should have been going for. And it was even before I realized that someone was calling out to me. I just really was like, I want to be with a sea deity. Something just was like, I want a sea deity. My big tip about being a YouTuber is serious. I don't even know if I consider myself a YouTuber, but putting content out there is just to do it and don't overthink it. Like, if when I started everything, I just had to do it. Like, I was terrified my first live stream. Terrified. Like, I think you can even tell that I was really nervous in the beginning. Like, I was very, because I didn't know what was going on and what I was doing. And I was terrified. But I did it. I made myself do it. And I'm happy I did, because, like, now I love doing these and I look forward to them and everything. So, and even with my podcast too, like, I had a lot of nerves and like a lot of nervousness about, like, my voice and whether my content was good, whether it was formative enough, it was too jokey, too corny, is anyone going to listen to it? But I just decided I'm just going to do it. I just do it. Like, don't think too much on how everyone else is going to perceive it. Because I think when you think too much about what everybody else wants from you, or what you think everyone else wants from you, or things like that, then it turns into a chore. It's not fun anymore. And, like, then you won't do it, That's just that's my biggest tip, is just to don't as you go along, you'll learn things, like, you'll learn more about the editing, you'll learn more about lighting, you'll learn more about all these other things. So just film yourself, talk about something, just, do it. The Greeks did believe in, like, reincarnation. I think they not. I don't think it was just the heroes. I think because it's not as that talked about them believing in reincarnation, but they did at some point believe in it. But I think it wasn't. It was everybody. I don't think a certain group was reincarnated. I just believe in it because I've even before coming to this religion, I believed in reincarnation. It's what I like to believe. So I just kind of like whether the ancient Greeks believed in it or not, I was still gonna believe in it. So, oh, that's great, Dylan. Definitely send me a link when you put up your first video. And that's nice, Kaden. Yeah, that's how I feel about Aphrodite too. I can't even. If I start talking about Aphrodite too long, I'm gonna start crying. But yeah, I love Aphrodite is the reason for, like, where I am now. Like, I'm in such a better place now than I was before her. It was like, it's crazy how much I've changed, and how much I've grown and everything, and it's all because of her. So, yeah, she's definitely like super super special and important to me. Hi Kona, welcome back. Oh, that's nice, Kaden. I have ambition to make my own temple. But it to be very different than like traditional temples. Um, I think it's I like the idea of bringing back the temples, but I don't think it's an easy thing to do. I think especially like for me, I think like the way that I view temple, I think is very different than how most people view it. Um so like that's what I think. I think it would be better if we kind of don't try to necessarily reconstruct the old school temples. I mean, I think that's a good thing to do that, but I do feel like it'd be really beneficial to have a more modernized temple. Like for me, the idea of having it's important for me not to just have a place to worship Aphrodite, but a place that really represents everything that she stands for. So I always imagine kind of more of like a community center kind of thing, or like a place where, you know, people can get food and people can, there are beds for people, you know, who specifically like youths, you know, LGBT plus youths who've been kicked out and everything. And um a place where people can have like learn sex education, you know, a place for sex workers to go to, things like that. Like I just like that's kind of what I to me that's where the importance of religion really comes in. I find it a little bit more useful than just having some kind of shrine to pray at, because I guess for me it's like I have my altar at home. I would much rather have something that's doing good for the community. Oh yeah, money is the main reason stopping everybody. It's the main stopping me. If I had money, I would have been made already. Because that's actually Lorelei Black has been trying to like for years. Still has a freaking I think like a GoFundMe or something for a temple for Aphrodite, and it's like not even close to being um like it being fulfilled. So yeah. But then someone is making an Apollo, I think. Is an Apollo temple in Missouri, I think. Yeah, like yeah, Lindsay, like that's kind of what I want, like a place like where people can kind of come together. That it's not just about the individual coming to worship or, you know, to pray to the gods kind of thing. It's where the community can be together and do things together, do ritual and pray together, but also do good for each other. Because that, to me, that's the beauty of religion. You know, it's about community. Oh my god, Kaden, that is the best. More broke than the ice cream machine at McDonald's. Oh, AS to stay. That's really cool, Dylan. I do too. I play Lana Del Rey for Aphrodite all the time. All the time. Every Friday. Every Friday is our day, and I play Lana Del Rey. All right. How do I feel about Hera? Hera is my divine mom. So I love Hera. Oh, I didn't stop it. I just was super. I was depressed. I was trying to figure things out. I'm still doing it. I've actually been working on scripts for it. So, especially now that I'm homebound for at least 2 weeks, you might actually get a podcast episode fairly soon. Oh, you're not the only one, Sugar Baby. Lana Del Rey gives everybody the Aphrodite vibes. But yeah, Hera's my divine mom. I love Hera. I think she definitely gets a very much a bad rap because of her mythology. And she's definitely, I think in a lot of ways, she gets forgotten about as well. Because, especially considering, like, one of the biggest issues I see with Hera is people seem to think that if you're not married and or don't want to get married, and don't have kids or don't want kids, that automatically means that you can't worship Hera. And I'm like, no, this doesn't mean that at all. Because first off, Hera is more than just all that, but also like family, because she's the goddess of family. And how a family looks isn't married people with kids. Like, that isn't family. Like, me and Moo are family. That's a family. You and your parents is a family. You and your friends are a family. So yeah. That's a common thing I see a lot. Bye, little dandelion. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, I can have guests on the podcast. I mean, you don't have to like all the gods. That's fine, but that is an interesting relationship you have with Zeus guy. Oh, we talking about, is that why you're offended? Because I'm hating on pizza? Sorry. It's just the truth. If it's not New York, if it's not New York pizza, it's not pizza. Just saying. I said what I said. I said what I said. I take nothing back. It is the truth. New York pizza is the real pizza. It's funny because my friend wants to take me to Italy. She wants to take me to Italy and have me get pizza from Italy and have me rant about how that isn't really pizza. She's like, this is all, I'm just going to record you in Italy talking about how that's not real pizza. No, deep dish is, oh my God, I'm going on a rant about deep dish is offensive. It is the nerve of deep dish to exist, A, and then to actually try and sell itself as pizza. No. No. Thank you, Jamie. See, it is the best. Those of you who are disagreeing with me have likely never had New York pizza, so you don't know. I am dissing your dinner. I am the god of pizza, so I will talk about it. I am very passionate about pizza. Oh, bye, apple pie. Yes, definitely go to sleep. Get some rest. Thank you so much for hanging out. Ew. Don't even talk about pineapple on pizza. No. No. Although, you know what? No, because real true New York pizza does not need anything. I should do a dad talk on pizza. I should. I'm telling you, New York pizza is the best. No, here, let me tell you. So I watched this show and it was trying to figure out who had the best pizza. Chicago or New York, right? That they were trying to figure out. So what they did was they did 3 tests. First they went to New York and they went to firefighters in New York and they had them try New York pizza and Chicago deep dish pizza. Obviously, all the New Yorkers were like, no, the New York pizza is the best. They all voted for the New York pizza. We go to Chicago, they did the same thing. In Chicago, most of them did say the deep dish was the best, but there were a few that said that the New York pizza was the best. Then they decided to go to California. They went to California and they had firefighters from California try the Chicago deep dish and the New York pizza. And guess who won? The actual pizza won. New York pizza. It won. It is the best. Okay? Chicago? No. Don't even come into my house and try to tell me that Chicago has the best pizza. It is literally, it's a crime. Chicago is committing a crime for trying to sell that deep dish pizza, whatever. I can't even call it pizza because it's not. Try to sell it as pizza. It's not pizza. I don't know what it is, but it's not pizza. Yeah, and that's why it's delicious. It's delicious. It's the best pizza ever. Well, it's the only pizza. Thank you. Chibi gets it. Thank you. It is so, I can't. No. It is just, ugh. Well, I'll tell you, I will eat Domino's, but Domino's is not pizza. I'm like, I'll eat it. I like it. Thin crust, the thin crust pizza from Domino's, delicious. But it's not real pizza. Hey, you're making me rant. Yeah, Pizza Hut, no. There always has to be one ridiculous rant at the end, near the end of my live stream. It was Batman one other time. I don't remember what the other, but I remember Batman. I went on a whole rant about Batman. So now it's pizza. But what's your it's that it's actual pizza. That's the difference between New York pizza and other pizza. It's that it's actual pizza. There is a large difference. Yes, and the large difference is that New York pizza is actual pizza. I do love pizza. Truthfully, putting the ridiculous rant aside, they do believe that because we're also considered to have the best bagels, which we do. But I won't say what you're eating isn't bagels. It's just we have the better bagels. It's that they believe it's the water, that the New York water that's used to make the bread actually makes it taste really good. And yeah. So that's give you some actual, put the ranting aside and give you some actual information about it, but they say that that's what it is. It's the water. I don't know. Probably not. I would never say that New York water is cleaner. Hi, Liz. Yeah, I'm still on. We're ranting. Well, I'm ranting about pizza. Hi. Moo's like, you guys got her ranting about pizza? Why? Yeah, that's actually, Lindsay, it's people do that. They literally will get the water shipped to other places to make the bagels. And that's how they kind of figured out that it was that, because then they started using the water to make the bagels and then they started tasting better. Yeah, New York bagels. Those are the things that we do right. We do pizza and bagels. Zeus is trying to seduce you. He might be. He's known for seducing, isn't he? It's what he does. You guys got me ranting about pizza. My friend's gonna laugh at me. It's like a whole big thing with my friends. They really just want to take me somewhere and have me try pizza from somewhere else. Like, I remember we went to Boston and oh my god, the stuff that they were trying to sell as pizza there, it was like, what the fuck? I'm like, this is atrocious. Then my friends were like, no, come on, you gotta have some. Because I think one of the places even said, like, oh, New York pizza. And it saw the picture of it. And I was like, that's disgusting. That is not New York pizza. And my friend's like, no, you should go in there and try it. I'm like, I'm going to like get arrested or something. I'm going to cause a scene. What's my opinion on Dionysus? I love Dionysus. He's I don't know. He's Dionysus. I think Dionysus definitely is a god that kind of doesn't, another one that kind of I think gets put in a box and seen either as like all madness or like just the cute little drunken boy, or seen as like kind of like attached to like Apollo in some way, as opposed to he's very like Dionysus has a lot of complexities to him. You guys making fun of me. I was literally just talking about Dionysus. So we have gotten back to Hellenic polytheism. I was just talking about Dionysus. They're making fun. They're making fun of my accent. You're lucky I didn't start doing this because I'm Italian. Dis pizza. All right. Well, does anybody want me to talk about anything other than pizza? If not, then maybe we should cut this, stop this live stream. I was gonna say cut this live stream short, and I'm like looking at it, like it's almost 4 hours. It's not short. Well, I guess because of my other live streams, it is kind of short, but spring equinox plans. Yeah, I'm gonna play Animal Crossing. Well, I think the spring equinox on Thursday. No, I don't really have any plans. Oh, you're having trouble bonding with what's the problem? Do you mean Apollo? But yeah, I can't wait for Animal Crossing. Does anybody else can't wait for Animal Crossing? I'm counting down the days. We're getting so close. Well, happy early birthday, Dylan. How exciting. Are you going to play Animal Crossing? I am so stoked for Animal Crossing. I'm so old. I was playing it when it was on the GameCube, so and I played every single one except for Happy Home Academy. I never played that one, but Kaden, I can help you bond with Apollo, but what's the is there a problem? Oh my god, yeah, remember Rossetti? He yelled at me all the time. Jax, you're lucky. You get to be your birthday's in Aphrodite April. Well, why do you feel like you're having a problem starting the relationship? Usually you can just do an introduction. Why is this one piece of hair wants to stick out? like I'm crazy. Okay. Usually you could just start with an introduction or just start right with giving an offering and kind of talking to him. Apollo's the second you give him any kind of attention, he's like, you're not getting rid of him out of your life, but he will vanish, but then come back and act like he didn't even, that like you're crazy for thinking that he left. Well, you don't have a connection to him. You have to develop that connection. Or do you want a connection with him? If you don't have a connection with him, then like usually then you just kind of have to develop one. It's also important that you research. In the chat, kind of up near towards the beginning, I left a link to a bunch of a Google Drive that has a bunch of ebooks in it, and there's one about Apollo that is a really good read. What? A New York Scorpio? Yeah, why are we not best friends? I love Scorpios. I'm a Cancer. Cancer and Scorpio is supposed to be like this. Oh, thank you, Chibi. So helpful you all are. Yeah, exactly. Good point, Dylan. Very good point. I miss GameCube too. That was a fun system. I don't know. I didn't see it. But I don't know if I don't know if I'd see it. No. Okay. All right. Are we good? Do we have anything else we want to talk about? Should I head out? Moose staring at me like, what are you doing? Oh, well, I should probably put this out there. I have a Discord that if you would like to join, it's for Hellenic polytheists, or really it's for Hellenic polytheists, people who worship the Greek gods, and anyone who's really interested in it. All you have to do if you want to join is send me a message on one of my social medias. Most of you I think probably know, but I'm on Instagram and Tumblr, I'm the Pastel Priestess, and Twitter, I'm Tea with the Gods. So just send me a direct message, because we operate under Fight Club rules. So first rule Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. So that's why you don't really hear about the Discord server. I only talk about it in my live streams. And at the end, when, at least 3 hours have passed. So that's your reward for getting through the live stream, is getting an invite to the Discord. But yeah, we keep it small because I don't, this is my first time running a Discord, so I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't want like a big group of people. So we kind of do it this way, just to have like little people, like little trickles of new people joining in every now and then. So yeah, if you want to join it, just find me on social media and send me a direct message, and I will happily give you a link. Mm-hmm. Pizza with God. You know what? You know what? You're right. It really should be pizza with the gods at this point. Speaking of, I was actually thinking that I really need to like push that theme more though. The fact that it's like tea with the gods. Because I was realizing, there's so much I could be doing with it, not just like we're sipping tea, and we're spilling tea. And it's like I don't use that enough. I'm like, why don't I do that? It's like the idea of having like, a nice just tea party conversation, like conversation over tea, but then there's also that other idea of we're spilling the tea about the gods and everything. And I'm like, I don't take advantage of that more often. Oh, that's cool. Patron of the month. Treat a god patron from new moon to new moon. That's a really cool idea. So I'm gonna have another live stream on Friday. I'm thinking of making it sometime in the more early afternoon. Yeah, I'm thinking about having it in the early afternoon because I just wanted to try and have like different days and times so people can join, participate. So I'm having that. I'll definitely give an official update and post about it when I decide. But yeah, yep, Aphrodite's Day. And yeah. So if you want to do another live stream, you want to join in another one and make me rant about pizza in that one, feel free to. I do too. Me and her, it's like our special day Fridays where we spend the day together and do stuff. I love it. For Hellenism and pizza. See, this is great. Now everybody's just going to be like talking to me about pizza. You're all going to be making fun of me about pizza now. My friend will be so happy. Was there something else I wanted to say? Also, just as a reminder, like I'm always open to suggestions on like topics that you'd like me to cover or like things you'd like me to do, stuff like that. If you ever come up with certain ideas, definitely feel free to let me know, like message me or something like that. And also like don't be afraid to talk to me on social media at all. As you can see, I just ranted about pizza for like a good like 15 minutes, even longer, like 20-30 minutes. Huge nerd. So, you can definitely talk to me on social media about things. I know. Well, yeah, especially now we have no life. But yeah, so if you have anything that you ever have any ideas or topics you'd like me to cover, definitely let me know. I'm trying to get back into content creating. I have a website that's going to be going up soon because I wanted to kind of have a designated place for all of my like actual posts to be, because Tumblr is shit basically, it's shit. So I wanted a nice place where all my posts can be so people can easily find information. So that's actually going to be going up soon with some nice new posts. And I'm working on scripts for my podcast finally. And the big thing is Aphrodite April. Again, if you have any ideas of what you'd like me to do in Aphrodite April, like to celebrate Aphrodite and self-love, let me know. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing the self-love challenge, Aphrodite challenge, and also maybe doing something special every Friday, whether it be that like we meet on the live stream and do like a prayer to Aphrodite or some kind of ritual to Aphrodite, or just talk about Aphrodite, things like that. But yeah, I really want to kind of like do really special things. I feel like, especially after what happened in this month, I feel like we'll definitely need a good kind of nice cleansing and spread of love and everything Aphrodite. You can call it Pizza with the Gods all you want. I'm completely fine with that. Oh yeah, I should definitely do an Ulta tour. That's a good idea. Everyone keeps wanting me to do that. And I keep saying I'm going to, and then I don't. Story of my life. But I think I will this time. Yeah, so okay, I think that's good. I think we are done unless anybody has anything they want to talk about. I think we're good. Moo looks like she's ready from, like, she's very mad that I'm not paying attention to her. Sounds like Apollo. Okay. So I'm going to head out. Yeah, so again, if you want to join the Discord, just send me a message on my social media. And keep a lookout for when I announce the times for Friday if you want to join in on that live stream. All right. Please stay safe, take care of yourselves, be well. Don't go out if you don't have to, and keep yourself occupied at home. Do some fun things for yourself, hang out with the gods, do some research, pick up a skill, practice an instrument. Just trying to keep yourself from possibly spiraling. And if you ever need anyone to talk to, I'm always here. Send me a message and say, I need some company. And I will definitely, we could definitely have a nice chat to keep us all sane. All right. Yes, Moo's a girl. Fun fact, we thought Moo was a boy when she was younger. And then the vet was like, no, she's a girl. And I was like, oh, okay. Sorry, Moo. Anyway. So, okay. All right, I'm going to go. Yeah, take care of yourselves. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for hanging out. And hopefully I'll see you all Friday. Okay? Love you guys. Bye.